he ends up at the inaugural ball, March 4th, 1865, because back then the inauguration was March 4th, and that lasted until probably around FDR, where now it's January 20th. But he shows up and they ain't gonna let him in. You ain't letting no Negroes in unless you working, you ain't coming in here. And Douglas ends up seeing somebody he knows. He says, when you get word to the president comes over, he says, there's my friend Douglas. And Douglas ends up inside. Now, were they friends? Maybe, you could probably say they're friends, but that's secondary to the business at hand. Like I said, Douglas didn't pull punches. And even 10 years later, when they're revealing the statue over at Lincoln Park, April, I believe, was it April? It was 1875. On the east side of the park, Lincoln is standing there, and there's a slave or an ex-slave whose chains are broken, but he's down on one knee. Now maybe he's getting up, but Douglas was overheard to say in the crowd that he could have assumed a better position than kneeling down. But he ends up speaking that day, and he pointed out some good things that Lincoln did, but he also pointed out some stuff that Lincoln could have improved upon. So he's not just going along with, I'm just so glad to see the president, Mr. President, I'll say whatever you want me to say. No, it wasn't him. They're friends, but the business comes first. As a matter of fact, after the president dies, his wife presents Mr. Douglas with a cane. Now, if you look in Mr. Douglas's library, you see a bunch of canes there. We've got some of his stuff on display down at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. But one of our prize canes is the one that Mary Todd Lincoln gave him after the president died. So, they had a pretty good relationship.